All right, Brandon.
Yeah.
I know I said something before AJ came on the show last week, but before Kurt Benkert gets on the show, like low key, the guy doesn't even throw that hard. Like it barely broke my thumb. Like it was like a little like fracture, and I was just like, "That's all you got." And then I threw the ball. Oh baby, we here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to the 200th episode. That's right. You didn't even know that. That's right.
You didn't tell me that. Oh my god.
200, baby.
Special
Let's go.
day. Special day.
Let's
We
go,
were reminded
man.
of on Wednesday because we didn't know.
How
Who had to remind you?
Yeah. Tom Grossi, Brandon Perna, Kurt freaking fracking Benkert back in the building. GPS.
Navigate me.
Yeah, and like 200th episode, and Kurt is in a car. This is the most navigated show we've ever done, basically. It's perfect.
Yep.
I mean, at this point, we can go wherever we need to.
Amazing.
It's going to be the first sports show that is actively going to distract a driver while he is on the actual show as a guest. And he's like, you make a left. And Kurt just has to make a left.
Maybe I should drive, like just really slowly down the street.
So you just go in circles for a full hour.
Chat can tell me where to go.
Exactly. It's like when Twitch played Pokemon all those years ago. It's the same exact thing. It's like, where is Kurt gonna go? They're just gonna have you drive back to Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's
That's funny.
That's where they have you go. But Kurt, so great to have you back. There you go. World's best knee and QB is back.
Thank you.
That's a good slogan because the world's best knee and QB. Ooh,
Damn, that is good.
That's
I think it'd be Twitter's best knee, honestly. There's some knees unaccounted for out there, but Twitter's best knee and QB, because I don't know if there's a better Twitter QB than me. Like,
I don't think there is.
Ooh, a better Twitter QB.
Twitter QB merch.
So here's the thing, though, because Brandon's going to push back on that a little bit because Brandon absolutely loves how active Tom Brady is on Twitter, and he just like constantly praises his social media game.
That's his team, dude. That's his team.
You're right. That is his team. That is. Oh, you're saying. Oh, I thought you were saying that's Brandon's team, which is also correct because he's a diehard Tom Brady fan.
Kurt, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? Who was the better quarterback?
Tom Brady.
That backfired so bad, Brandon.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Peyton,
Well,
dude, Peyton was good, but like Peyton made the most with his talent that he was given. Because I don't think he was the most talented, but I think Tom Brady was more talented than Peyton as well, and won more, and has more Botox, and like has more brands.
Peyton Manning was probably, yes, he's definitely less physically gifted, maybe than any Hall of Fame quarterback. And that's why I think he's better. What he did with his mind transcends all sports. The greatest mind in all sports, Peyton Manning.
He better have the big. Do you see how big it is? Like,
That was
Yeah.
It was. Has anyone ever photoshopped Peyton Manning in a Magneto helmet?
Oh my
sure.
God.
Chat.
It's him
Chat.
or Megamind.
like holding his hands out, or like.
Yeah, just like moving the satellite. I like that. Well, Kurt, listen, we have so much to catch up on because it's been a while, just a little bit. What's been going on with you lately? Because I see it all over the social media. There's land now that you are the owner of. There's RV living. There's video game tournament winning. There's combine throwing. Definitely want to talk about the combine. What's going on with one Kurt Benkert?
No lie, I feel like I've lived a whole year in the past 2 months. But it's been awesome. I'll try to go chronologically. First things first, I won the NFL Fortnite tournament with a really big streamer named Tifu.
There you go.
We each brought home $41,500 for our charities. And I was told that is 4 total wishes for Make-A-Wish, which I'm super proud of, from just dogging people in Fortnite. Like, I get to make wishes. Which,
yeah.
Cool. What else happened? I went to the Combine. I got that phone call from the person who runs the Combine, and man, it was like, is this a real call? I thought I was being pranked because I'm a vet, not allowed to go to the Combine. He's like, no. Like, they actually asked this year for 2 vets to come out and throw to the defensive guys and then throw to the tight ends and running backs, because in past years, the rookie guys have kind of screwed it up. And they wanted us to come out and do it. They had a short list of guys, and they allegedly said I was top of the list, which is exciting, for the guys that teams wanted to see that had been on like the workout circuit this year. Throwing went really well. I threw like 1,500 balls in 4 days, which I've never done in my life. I have not touched a football since, and I'll probably start next week. Arm was hanging a little bit, but it was good. It was cool because I got to show, like, they saw obviously me in 2018. I've played sparingly in preseason since then, and now we're in 2023, and it's like a new audition to 32 teams. The reviews were great. I talked to between like 5 and 10 teams pretty extensively, and we'll see what happens after the draft and how things shake out with the young guys and where they go, but it looks good. I'm excited. That was a really good one. It was a good event.
I'm just thinking like there's some QB prospect that's really excited about getting drafted, but the team is going to be like, nah, we saw Kurt throw instead. We're going to do that. He's like, damn, the guy they brought in is going to beat me out. And you're just like, yeah.
Well, like, honestly, for me, the best part was that, like, I didn't have to do any of the BS. I didn't have to test. I didn't have to do meetings. I hung out in the hotel all day, did my work, and, like, made some content and stuff for other things. And then I went and threw at night. And it was, like, I got to experience the Combine like you would hope you would as a kid, being able to, like, soak it all in and enjoy it because there was no pressure. Like, I had nothing to lose. So, yeah, it was cool. And that was kind of part of the reviews as well, as like they wanted to see guys that were available that you don't have to like teach a new learning curve of the systems and whatnot compared to the late round guys that, shuffle it in out a lot.
You and I have talked about this, and I think it was on GPS too, or was one of the many episodes that we did, but it was the matter of fact of like, there's just not a ton of tape on you.
Yeah.
Right. So like you look at it from the standpoint of you had that, right? Because when Jordan got hurt and you went in for the preseason game, like that's probably the most extensive, like the most recent one and the most extensive because everything else is from like practice and things like that. Yeah. So there's only so much film. And then you get an opportunity to go in front of all of these scouts. And of course, they're there to look at these young prospects and draft picks and all that great stuff. But you're there. And if you're like doing well, then they're going to be like, oh, crap. If we need a backup QB, like there's one potentially right there. So like, what does that mean for just the exposure element of it? That it's just like, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And the scout that I was with, or the pro personnel guy that I was with most of the time, he put it really well to me. He said, look, it's football. When you're doing these drills, everyone's going to naturally see how the ball comes out because, they're going to watch the receivers and the DBs and stuff, but like everyone watches the ball and they can tell a guy that can spin it versus a guy that can't, and you can very clearly spin it. So like you made yourself some money this week. And hearing that from a guy that like it puts it into like a real, like more of a human perspective versus like these scouts are not out there watching every last step of every last drill for every DB. Like they're going to get caught watching the guy that's throwing, regardless of if the drill's about him or not. Like it's still football. You want to see how the ball comes out. And I was like, that's like that's a good way to put it. Like there's no pressure. Just go sling it like I like normally would. And I didn't have to have this urge of like trying to be perfect. They just want to see how the ball comes out. And like I threw a lot of balls. So they saw it for 4 straight days. And it was a nice way to get back in front of people because my last real time was in, oh my God. Yes.
You need more forehead in there, though.
It's really in there, though. It's like
it's snug. Oh, it's pushing the limits of that helmet. Continue.
Yeah, or the top of his head needs to be broken through it.
It's just a scalp on the top.
At the combine, did you get to like chat with Carson Strong much? Because he's another dude. Will Keys and I, who I do my Broncos podcast with, he went to Nevada, so he was a big Carson Strong fan. And before the Russell Wilson trade, he was a player we were kind of hoping the Broncos would look at. And he's had like a weird knee injury that I guess has turned teams off. But he was another dude in college who could absolutely sling it, and they had him throwing with you there, right?
Yeah.
What was my question? Like, did you talk to him like about his experience at all, like last year in the NFL, or were you guys kind of just like doing your own thing most of the time?
We talked a little bit, and he's a lot younger than me, so it was like that was kind of a barrier a little bit. But we were hanging out on the sideline a lot, waiting for the drills to start, and I was just trying to help him like understand that, like, look, you were where you were, you got cut, you went somewhere else for a week, but like this is a good chance for you to have a fresh start, and like if you haven't been cut a few times, you haven't been in the NFL very long, and that's kind of going to be his track, right? Like he has a big arm. He's not like the most mobile guy. He's very much a pocket passer. So like, I think he's fighting against that some, but like if he can just get a chance to like play a little bit, show that he can operate an offense, which I don't think he's gotten any reps anyways to be able to do that.
Sure.
I know he told me he's going to the USFL to play in that league to try to hopefully get some film and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
But he's a guy that like, and he admits like he's not the most mobile, so that's not his game. And I think he's just fighting against a few of those things right now that what he's going to have to do is play in a lower league to show that he can do it.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense too, because like even in his case, like doesn't get a lot of reps. There needs to be film somewhere. So it could be like here. Yeah. So it's an opportunity for him, obviously, at the combine. But the thing that I'm really interested in, because you're in Green Bay for a time, right? And during that time, you amass like this big social media following, et cetera. You've been doing stuff with the NFL, whether it's like the Fortnite tournament. But now that they're kind of reaching out to you specifically, saying that you're at the top of the list to come in and throw at the combine, are you feeling good about kind of just going forward with the NFL, whatever that looks like, whether it, of course, is trying to get on another team, like trying to make the 53-man roster, but also like having this relationship with the NFL that it's like, hey, maybe I can just get like cool opportunities and like do partnerships and work with them, like just going down the line, whether it's throwing a football, professionally or not.
Yeah. I've definitely I've realized that's kind of where things are shifting. And even like the NFL, they post a lot of the stuff that I do on social media. Like if it's throwing at the beach or like memes or whatever, like they try to like amplify it for me, but it also helps them to, they sometimes get, oh my God, they get more views on some of the stuff that they post on my behalf than I do. But for me, like, so a big part of this is it's not really about the money to me. Like being on the 53 is a lot of money and it's life-changing, but I'm doing enough outside of it that like, it's not really about being on practice squad for the money. I just want to play football. And to that point though, I was told through the grapevine that there's a very high likely probability that there will be 3 quarterbacks allowed on the roster this year. Like pretty high probability.
Which is like, that's game changing.
Changes my life. So for me, like I've been on and off practice squad for 5 years, going into my 6th year, and I need 3 games for my pension. And to know that that rule is most likely going to get changed, for me, it changes like the perspective of things. Because again, it's not really so much about the money as it is, I want to keep playing football as long as possible.
Sure.
Like while it makes sense, because I like playing, I like being in it. I like being a part of the prep, and I like being in like on the team in the locker room and like bringing those vibes to the team. But I also am like in 6 years. So it's like, how long do you want to just be like the third guy that's making practice squad money? You know what I mean? Yeah. When I've been fortunate enough to build other businesses and have other opportunities like in media. And so for me, it's really exciting to know that I have a little bit easier path if I'm able to make it and stick with the team to the 54-man roster, essentially. If that goes through, then always having to be the undrafted guy that's on practice squad until someone gets hurt. Because that's been my whole career is like,
correct.
Essentially, the only way I'm going to make it is if somebody breaks their leg and if I'm not cut before that happens. Like,
yeah,
right.
That's so to have a little bit more of like ownership in what I'm doing, where, I mean, on practice squad, you're a mercenary that can get cut middle of the afternoon, Wednesday while you're in a meeting. Like I've had that happen. So
sure.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm super excited to be able to play, hopefully in preseason, and hopefully get a new fresh start somewhere throughout OTAs. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens because I've been fortunate to be building while I'm playing, where most guys try to build after they're done, and it's a lot harder.
Yeah, it's so much harder because you're out of the spotlight, right? And it's
Exactly.
we were talking about literally. We were talking to AJ Dillon about this last week and talking about building something because the career span of especially of a running back is so like tight. It's a small window.
Yep.
So you have to like build that brand as you have been doing for quite some time, like while you're also having a little bit of a spotlight, and I think you utilize that perfectly in Green Bay. But you and I have talked about this, and Perna too, in talking about, I feel like in your career, you keep having like these like crazy misses in terms of just like timing, and it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like Aaron gets COVID, right? And it's like, then it's like you get COVID too. So then it's like, so now it's Jordan Love starting in Kansas City where you could have been called up, right? There's that opportunity. You talk about
they brought Blake Bortles back to make like 30 grand. And you know what I mean? Like those are the things that have always kind of stuck with me of like, damn, I'm working really hard to make practice squad. Like through the whole year, that was my chance, and then it happens. But like you said, it's just been like, I've kind of let that stuff go because it's out of my control, but I've definitely taken tabs of it of like, I just got to keep doing the right thing long enough that eventually I'm going to get the opportunity.
Well, yeah. Like even with the Niners last year,
it's
crazy.
There's this thing I think in the NFL where like if you're a head coach, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like there's this fear of having like the quarterback position, and they've had so many injuries there, but they signed Josh Johnson right off the Broncos roster. I think I can't remember if he was on the practice squad or if he was
there for like 2 or 3 years, and they brought him in because it was like, oh God, we just need someone that we know.
Right.
And it's like,
we know and has the experience. Like there's that fear of like Kurt's been working with us for, a couple months now. We like him, but he doesn't have the game experience. And I think there's just a fear level there, which is weird too for the 49ers because they rolled with Brock. There it is. They rolled with Purdy and it worked out.
It's very contradictory because again, like nobody ever has experience until they get experience. Like it's the same thing in any traditional world or traditional job, like the traditional world of jobs. Like what do you denote as experience? I've been in the same meetings with Hall of Famers for 5 years. Right. What is more valuable? You've seen me play in preseason and operate and like run a 2-minute and like know everything that I need to know when I'm quizzed, and like those things have just been happening. But again, like in San Francisco, I get it. I wasn't there long enough in their mind to like roll with. So they went and they got someone that they had, but I'm like really excited for a fresh start. Hopefully I get that. Yeah. Nothing's guaranteed, but I'm really hoping that I get OTAs through training camp, play in preseason, like get a full slate of things, because even my last time getting that was in 2019 with the Falcons. Because even when I was with the Packers, I came in and I didn't get any reps in OTAs because Blake Bortles was getting all the reps.
Yep.
I got reps for the first time in the preseason game against Houston. That was my first time getting reps. And then Jordan hurt his shoulder, and I played the entire game in the Jets. I actually got my first real reps in practice in the joint practice against the Jets in 2021 since like 2019 July when I got injured. Like, that's it.
Dang.
It's just like a lot of practice, like to not do anything for 5. I mean, it's been 5 years.
Well, when there's also 3 QBs, there's only so many reps to go around, right?
Exactly.
So like it's like QB1, obviously, and then it's QB2, and then it's just like maybe you throw like 3 or 4 passes, and
and none of it's like, and most of the reps that I would be getting are like not for me; they're for servicing the defense. So it's like, hey, they're gonna be running cover 2 here. Like, we really want you to try to fit in this whole shot, and like, okay, they're gonna fall under it and pick it, like. Yeah. Depending on where you are, like some teams are more inclined to like make you throw exactly where you're supposed to in practice, and some are not. But yeah, it just depends on what time of the year and everything. There's a lot of nuances to it.
So Brandon pulled it up before because there was a question that was asked yesterday about maybe a return to Green Bay, because it seems like Kurt Benkert, one Hall of Fame QB or future Hall of Fame QB, is going to be on the move to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what the context is really around this, but I find it very offensive when you say I'd rather be a career bench warmer than make a living off shitty content. As someone who's making a living off shitty content, Kurt, let me tell you, it's pretty good. Life's pretty good over here. I felt like that was a direct attack on me. Well, and I know it has nothing to do with me, but I was like, dang.
It's okay, Brandon. It's okay.
What did they say? Like, if
I've only dreamed of making shitty content, and now I am.
It's my lifelong dream.
Something about if the shoe fits or if it offends you, then that's probably your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The context of that was a national media member was ripping a teammate of mine in 2021, not to be named. And
Mason Crosby.
I decided to call the fake news out as it
Sidney
was.
Crosby.
And then he decided to make other like really just shitty jokes, like they weren't even funny. And so then I took it to the next level, and then he tried to take it to the next level, but it was even worse. And then I finished him. And
he did.
yeah, I finished him like kind of like WWE, like
Mortal Kombat, like fatality.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was walking through, but the context of this was I was talking about my time ending in Green Bay and kind of how I knew it was coming because not everyone liked my personality or my presence on media and like the things I do outside of football, which are way better than what a lot of people are doing outside of football, might I add. But when I went to the combine, I found out a little more about my release, and so that's been stewing with me. And this was time. This was my little jab at like bringing it to light. But yeah, I was reprimanded a little bit for my back and forth with this media person, and told not to do it again. And I didn't do it again, but I did other things, I guess.
So, Kurt, I'm going to ask you a very. It's not a.
Gotcha.
No names, no anything. But let's just say you are a Hall of Fame QB, or let's just say you're a really, really good QB who is QB1 on any other team. If they do the same exact thing, do they get reprimanded the same exact way?
You know, the people that are those people too, if they are getting berated and, you know, like social media abused, I think that they would really appreciate someone that would do that for them to stick up for them, which in my experience has been the case.
Oh, you mean like, I don't know, another quarterback who had nobody defend him for an entire season named Russell Wilson? Maybe he would have liked some early defenders last year?
Yeah, like I can bring that to the table for anybody. I can make anything look good.
Hell yeah. Benkert to Denver, confirmed.
I mean, listen, when you're starting left tackles and offensive linemen are defending, you know, your QB after he gets a hit or shove out of bounds, it's the same thing, just in the virtual space.
Who's going to take care of them on social media when nobody wants to step up? I will.
Kurt frickin' Benkert's going to do it.
He's the left tackle of Twitter defense.
Protect your blind side.
I am Twitter's left tackle. Yes. Yes.
I have an idea.
Thank you, Mac. I appreciate that, dude.
This is going to be a reach, but I think we should put it on the table right now. Okay? Because is it May or June, Tom, where Aaron Rodgers will be in Denver speaking at the psychedelic convention?
It's June. It is June.
Okay, June. Maybe, Kurt, you talk to your friend and convince him, you, me, Tom, and Aaron, before his psychedelic convention, all do mushrooms together. And he guides the experience because I have never done mushrooms.
That sounds amazing.
Just go put it out there right now. I want to do mushrooms.
I'm going to forward this to my legal counsel.
I love how Brandon's like, I want to do mushrooms with NFL players.
And we can do it at my parents' house.
I will say that
and my mom will make us such a nice meal. Oh my God.
You just call Aaron Rodgers just shows up to your mom's basement. Do you need anything, honey? No, Mom, my friends are over.
I'm doing mushrooms with Aaron Rodgers. Shut up.
Banging on the roof. Shut up, Bob.
With the broomstick. Oh my God.
I love that. You know, well, I will say I've never done mushrooms, so I can't speak to that. But I think it'd be a really good conversation, regardless of whether mushrooms are involved or just tea or coffee. If you know Aaron, which you guys probably do know some of him from his media presence, he does hold a really good conversation. So,
yeah. Oh, I do not doubt that in any way, shape, or form. So
I bet we could get Jake Plummer in the mix too, because he has a mushroom
his
business.
hair, is his hair still as good as it was back in the day? Still
What's
long
that?
hair? Does he still have long hair?
Oh yeah.
Brandon's like, I've been keeping tabs on his hair. Yeah, 100%.
I'm trying to get mine to Plummer level.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So speaking of that, Jordan Love is going to get an opportunity to kind of showcase what he has. You have been around Jordan Love, been in the same QB room. And I know the conversations you and I had, the guy was kind of just desperate to play. And there was definitely this tone shift that happened between January and the combine. And Aaron talked about it on McAfee, but with Goody, who's kind of like, yep, we want everybody back. And now was saying, well, if it works out, because Jordan's ready to play. There just seemed to be like an instilled confidence that the organization had in Jordan that wasn't there previously. From the little bit that you've seen with Jordan, so like with the Eagles game, like he wound up coming in later and he was slinging it pretty well. Kind of what did you see with the progression of like Jordan Love and just knowing him personally, being like, hey, like what can Packers fans expect?
I think the biggest thing with him is like when he's playing free and just letting it go, he looks like a certain player compared to when he's hesitant. And I think part of it is like when he comes in from being the backup to Aaron, typically, like what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? Yeah. And when he plays like that, I think he plays amazing. And I think I'm not going to speculate. Like, obviously, you don't want to have both on the team if you're going to try to play Jordan. But, like, I'd imagine they bring in someone behind him that's a vet that's, like, a non-threatening vet of some sort that can help him and just, like, be there to where it really makes Jordan feel like it's his show to run. And, like, hey, like, the leash is not going to be crazy short. Like, go be you. Go play. Like, play loose. Don't play, like, worried to lose. Like, I think when he can get in that mindset and play that way, he can play really well, which you guys have all seen. So I'm excited to watch him play. I'm excited to see some of the young guys like step up around him and keep developing like some of the receivers, obviously two of the best running backs in the league as a duo. I'm excited to see how they build the team around him to help him take his game to the next level.
Well, it's interesting because I think for that, I agree with you. I think for that reason, they're just going to draft someone super duper late. Like they'll wind up picking someone up in like the 6th or 7th round and be like, this is yours. Because I basically said the Packers need to do what the Bears did, or at least had that mindset of wins and losses don't matter this season because we're not looking to compete for a Super Bowl. Are you our franchise guy? Like that's what it is, right? You just go out there and show that you're the future of this franchise. And then we're good. We can go, 6-11. We can win 3 games. That's as long as you look solid and you look good, that there's enough confidence that, hey, we're going to build around this guy. Then that's a successful season for the Packers, which is weird because usually it's like, oh, well, we're going to try to win a Super Bowl this year. But
I think too, like that also them like having this mass exodus of players. In my mind, if I'm looking at it from the GM's or coach's perspective, it's got to give them a longer leash too. Because, like, they're just diminishing their expectations for the year to the lowest possible. Like, they're not going to say that publicly, but if I'm in the room, I'd be like, okay, like, we don't have the guys that we've always had. Like, let's rebuild. We know that we have a little time to do it, but, like, it should take a little bit of pressure off because when you have a loaded roster and it's win now and you lose, it's like, holy shit, like, what are we doing? Kind of like the Rams last year. Like, the Rams dropped the ball last year. But if you lower the expectations and over deliver, then like as a coach or a GM, it's like, okay, like let's keep building this thing. Like our jobs are safe because that's the thing in the NFL. Like if you win a bunch of games, your whole coaching staff's going to leave. If you lose a bunch of games, you're all going to get fired. If you're in between kind of making it through, then you're going to have like 2 to 3 years to build. And that's like, it's like rinse repeat all over the league. Every team has that. So I think that's kind of where they're going to be is that 2 to 3 year to figure out what they got and if they have the right pieces in place all across the board, not just players.
Well, I think in that sense too, right? They're going to pick up Jordan's 5th-year option because they have to make that decision this year. So it's like you have 2 years. You have 2 years. There is a young core that's there. I love that Bakhtiari is staying because having a premier left tackle for your like newish QB, always a plus. They kept Aaron Jones. So you said like you have the run game to fall back on. I'm very interested to see how coaching changes, because it is very different to have Aaron. And I think that there's a lot that comes along with that to now Jordan Love. And considering Jordan Love was a guy who was selected for a specific reason,
yep,
I'm curious to see. I mean, I've said it this way. I want to see who's good at their job. And that is coaches, that's players, that's as an organization. I want to see, now that you don't have a Hall of Fame QB, because that was the knock on LaFleur, right? For all those years, they went 13-3, they winning all these games. Well, they have a Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers. So it doesn't really count. Okay, let's see how good LaFleur is. Let's see Joe Barry. We talked about, the offense should have delivered. They should, but the defense should have been top 5, top 10 last year, and it wasn't. Yeah. So let's look at his job. But that, I think, it's a different perspective, but I'm kind of excited. And I just hope that the organization addresses when someone is not great at their job and says, hey, this needs to change in some way.
President Tom, dude. Hell yeah. I love that.
This is accountability, baby. That's it. We're all just trying to do our jobs.
Big fan.
That's what I'm about.
Or you got problems and you're the richest team in sports, just throw some money in it, baby.
That's Brandon Perna.
I'm going to get Kurt $20 million guaranteed after I talk to Walmart this weekend.
He's just going to walk into a Walmart and talk to the greeter and be like, 20 mil for Kurt, all right?
What are you talking about?
You're like, here.
Also, where's the donuts?
I wish that I could have incentives built into my contract around Twitter performance and what type of traffic do I drive for the local, the local audience?
Yeah.
My I think as a role as as a backup to a backup, you should have to have more on your plate that can be incentivized.
I agree.
We should start in social media.
I agree.
Are you delivering and bringing value to your local market?
You have season bonuses. Why can't you have steps in your contract to being hey, got a lot of followers here now. Oh, look at all this engagement. 3,000 retweets. Well, buddy, you just earned yourself $50.
How many people went to the Packers Pro Shop because I was talking about it every day? Were they going to go anyways? Probably. Did they go a little quicker and hastily because I did it? Maybe
there's a little pep in the step for them to get there.
Maybe they have a NFL 101 QB ebook as well.
NFL 101 ebook. If anybody in chat wants to learn about football, basically, this is one of the projects that I've been working on since I was released from the 49ers. I typically at the end of every year, I'm tired of football, so I don't look at it. But I got released early, and I still had more in the tank. And I went and I wrote an ebook, a few of them, which there might be a link in one of these places.
Description.
Links and descriptions on each of Tom's and Brandon's YouTubes. Essentially, I went back and I looked at all of every notebook that I have had since my rookie year, and I started pulling out pieces that I felt were the most valuable to learning football from a foundational level.
That's awesome.
And I wrote about it in an ebook, and I hand drew diagrams and routes and timing and everything that if you knew nothing about football and you're a rookie, what do you really need to know? Because right now, if you go on Google, they just throw every last piece of information at you, and it's overwhelming.
Sure.
Where most of it you don't even need to know. So I curated it all, put it into a package of ebooks, which you can find at those links. And we just celebrated our first 1,000 sales last night.
Let's go.
So,
1,000 downloads?
1,000 total orders.
Nice.
Total packaged orders. I don't know how many specific ebooks purchased, but
that's
probably
awesome.
to 2,000. And we're in over 15 countries now, and I've been getting DMs from people in France and Australia and Germany of thank you for teaching football to me in a way that has not been explained before. I can actually understand it through your eyes now. And I'm like, wow, I was hoping that would be the response. Thank you for sharing that too. But it's been so overwhelming to see how appreciative people have been of me pushing that out, and it's done really good on sales. And I hope that some of you guys buy it and enjoy it, and let me know what you think.
That's awesome.
Feedback. Yes. Yeah.
I downloaded it.
This a little bit. You can definitely show it off. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I downloaded it this morning, and so there's two versions, right? You've got the basic and then the quarterback, specific one about coverages and everything.
So there's 3 of them. There's NFL 101, QB 101, and then coverages 101. And
Okay.
NFL is like the basic that everyone I think should have. And then if you're interested in learning about the process of quarterback, I would buy the quarterback one as well. And then the coverages one, I basically took all of like the normal coverages that are like most commonly used in the NFL, and I broke them down and explained how they're supposed to be played. And
That's
I used
awesome.
Madden images to explain them in a way that people are like used to seeing, because most people have played Madden. So yeah, I went through and like it took me like 3 weeks of working on them, about many hours each day. But I'm so glad I did that, because it's stuff that's out there forever now, and people are able to learn it. And like that was one of my biggest knocks when I was being coming through the draft process, was like I played in a system that wasn't real football. We didn't even have a playbook in college. It was all spoken, and like there was no playbook. So we learned it in our heads and then had to speak it and use signals. And so all of like the nuances of the NFL and like speaking the talk, it took me a year to learn. Because I'd never been introduced to it. It wasn't because I wasn't smart. I just never had that resource available. So I wrote it as if like I was a rookie again. What do I wish that I had to learn, so that I didn't have to be uncomfortable in a room with Matt Ryan and Matt Schaub, like not knowing what the hell they were talking about.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I did. So thank you guys.
It's pretty cool. Like, I think this is one of those things where obviously, like, if you're a young QB, like it's for you, right? But like if you're just a fan and you want to, like a passionate fan, and you want to know more about just the terminology and parts of the game that, like, I think just a curious mind would be thinking about. Like,
Sure.
I just started going through, because I know football pretty well in terms of a fan standpoint.
Yeah.
It was like page 5. I already started to learn like shit that I didn't know. I was like, okay,
Awesome.
cool. So it's like, and also if you're somebody, I think, who's in a position like maybe Tom or I, and you want to talk about football in a more educated way, like this is a great resource to start learning in building that foundation. So like, yeah, it's cool. Like I started reading through some of it, and then I'm like, dang, I'm going to go through like all of this just to help me sound smarter. Just like page 5, you start talking about, you know, the difference between like your X receiver, your Y. And I remember in the season, they moved Jerry Jeudy out to the X, the Broncos did. And all of a sudden, he just started performing much more effectively in that offense. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck X means. But like, so I'm like, hey, that's X what they did to Jeudy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's so many little nuances that like X is the solo in a West Coast offense, where if you're going to have him as a Z, he's going to typically be on a 3-receiver side or a 2-receiver side, where some guys aren't better there. But when you look at it from like a fan's perspective, you're like, oh, they're all receivers. Like, why does this guy suck? Well, he's in the wrong spot. That's not his skill set.
Right.
And we had the same thing for when I was in Atlanta with Calvin Ridley. Like when Julio was at X and Calvin was at Z, Calvin was a better player at Z. When Julio got hurt, they moved him to the X and he wasn't performing as well. And then they moved him back to Z, even though Julio wasn't in the game and he was playing better. And it's like, those little things matter so much. And like, as I build these out, there's going to be more that come. And when I'm done playing, I'm going to speak to kind of the gambling audience a little bit more. But like most of like football it's really situational, and it matters like who the coaches are and like what are their play calling styles. Are they aggressive or not in certain situations? And how do they manage the clock? Obviously, we know not every coach is the same. But my whole point is, a lot of people need the basic football knowledge to navigate whatever they're trying to do, whether it's sitting on a couch watching it with friends and they want to sound smart, or are you doing like small time gambling and you see a line that's minus 200, but if you actually know a little more, you know if that minus 200 is like favorable or not. Like not every minus 200 is the same. And so I'm hoping that these things help people like peel back layers of football that should just be public knowledge. It's not like nothing's earth shattering. It's just never been curated or delivered from this lens, in my opinion. And most people try to write like 100-page books. I'm like, dude, that's not what people need. Like, just give them exactly what they need and then like let them move on.
Yeah, it's like if you're looking at it from the lines and the spreads and stuff, the only other avenue you can have to have better information is if you're in the mafia for sports betting. So I think this is a much better alternative.
Thanks.
Well, it just, again, football is such like a layered game, right? Like there's like the casual, like I just like watching ball go back and forth, right? There's like that. Then there's a layer where like us two idiots try to talk about it and like we know about, but like you can get down to like the real nitty gritty. And like this starts to like scratch the surface of that and is already like more informative than having like a regular conversation with your friend and be like, oh, well, no, I actually know about this position. And it's a way for people who love the game to kind of just get to know a little bit more about it.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing too is like when I was going into it, like I didn't know that, like I knew like a 4-3 defense, 3-4 defense. I knew that those were like a defense, but I didn't know why it was called nickel defense. Like literally I didn't know why.
Brett Favre didn't either. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll find like Brett Favre didn't, so it was fine. But like, and then I started hearing people saying sub defense instead of nickel, and I'm like, why are you saying that? Isn't it nickel? Well, they're like, well, nickel is a version of sub, and I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, can we not just say the same thing? But then I started realizing like there's base and sub. Bases for 12 personnel, 21 personnel, like it's just matching. So when I understood the process that, okay, offensive calls personnel group one of the field, defense looks from the booth, relays it down, hey, they just put 12 personnel in. Then DC says, hey, base defense goes in the field. Like I learned like the process. I'm like, oh, this is why they say the things they do, not like whatever. Where nickel defense is a specific type of sub defense. Sub defense just means anything not base. And I'm like, if you could have just said that to me or told me that the first time, I wouldn't have to like use all these damn context clues to figure this shit out.
Well, I think it's also crazy because what you just said, like just like that little bit, people are like, what? Like, because the amount of knowledge that you need to have, it's a lot of positions, but as a QB is absolutely insane. Because like you have to know, of course, your playbook. You need to be able to recognize defenses, which is something that rookies really struggle with. Like going in, that's probably one of the hardest parts, right? It's just like recognizing like where the pressure is going to come from, etc. And I think that it just, again, unveils the layers that it is to be like, oh, it's not just a guy going out there like backyard football and like tossing it to his buddy because he's open. It's like, nope, I'm going to hit this exact spot at this exact time. I'm looking at this person first, then this person second, going through my progressions. It's wild.
The biggest thing that helped me, and probably saying this to most fans, is like, if you can get insight into why people are making decisions around everything, then you can understand the processes and why which pieces matter and which pieces inform those decisions the best or the most or like are most influential. So like anybody in football is making a decision all the time about what they're doing and why. Coaches, players, GMs, and whatever. And so the more that you know the terminology that people use, the more you can understand like what their decisions are and why they're making them. And that was hilarious. So there's just, again, if you're a football fan that's avid, like this is a really good start. And I'm going to build more resources. And I'd like to do more talking about it because I think you can unveil things more through conversation than just text. But it's great to have a foundation through text that you can keep referring back to.
Sure.
And that's, I had like multiple notebooks. So like one notebook throughout the year was just for my chicken scratch, like just to try to jot notes down. And then I had a notebook for myself that I curated all of those thoughts into like a more organized way. And I use that curated one every year to like refer back to if I just had like a mind blank on what something was. And so I want this guide to be like, oh, wait, what did they mean when they said 13 personnel? Like, just go back to the guide. It's there. And same thing, like, okay, wait, what do they mean by like will it 3? Oh, the will blitzed on the weak side 3 gap, which is also the C gap. So like those things are in the book, but you guys like Dan Orlowski that are talking so much and breaking things down at a really high level.
Sure.
But I don't even know if you can understand what he's saying if you don't have the basic foundation built.
Right.
So that's
like
cool.
Even talking about it in that more like transparent way that you're kind of alluding to at the beginning there. Like I've been watching the XFL, and one thing they have is like Dean Blandino breaking down why he's making the calls up in the booth as an official. And it's done something where like, even when I don't agree with the call he's made, I see how he got there. Yes. And it's like, it's harder for me to like, just get irate, like as a fan at the official.
Such a good point.
So like, I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, as you understand it more, it gives context to why some of the things happen the way they do.
Yep.
Speaking
And
of Dan Orlovsky, how often do you wash your towels?
Oh my God, Brandon.
I wash my towels quite often.
You didn't do this
Quite
on clickbait, and now you're bringing it here. We
Hey,
have a guest.
I asked what's one weird question I should ask Kurt, and She Got Sports said how often he washes his towels. So there it is. He referenced Dan Orlovsky. That's called a segue, Tom, and I brought it home.
Don't.
I'm a once a month. They're like, Dan, I support Dan. I support Dan. But here's the
once
caveat.
a month, really, dude? Like, no. Like after like a week and a half, you're like, I gotta wash this.
But here's the thing: you got to have 2 towel minimum. You rotate towels.
Yes,
they dry
accurate.
out. They're always clean. You
Yes.
use them when you're at your cleanest. Why do you even need to ever wash them?
When you're in the shower, what's your process?
Well,
All right, Brandon,
mean-
go through your shower routine because this is what people. You know what, Kurt? This is for the sequel. Just
is
take
the
some
door
notes.
locked? And do I have time?
Yes. You got the door is locked. You have time. You can go through your whole
Ooh.
shower routine.
Shower routine is shave my neck, shave
Yep.
the neck beard,
Gotta do the neck beard.
wash the hair, wash the beard with a good exfoliating soap. Then I'm a loofah man, really get a good scrub through the whole body. And then I try to stay in there as long as I can because it's usually the only time throughout the day I have a moment to myself for peace and
Wait, what
quiet.
about like your shampoo? What about conditioner? Like, what are we doing there?
Oh yeah, I use the dandruff shampoo because that scalp get dry out here in Colorado. It get real dry.
How often do you change your loofah?
Ooh.
Probably every couple years. Maybe every
Then you
6
need-
months.
You may not need to change your towel, but you should change your loofah because the same follicles that are swishy washing around are on your loofah that you're claiming to clean yourself ever so
Oh
well
man,
with.
I haven't changed my loofah out in a while. I wash my towels often, but
See?
this is
Oh,
wow.
That's a good point.
I haven't changed. I have to get a new loofah now.
And
Well,
those
I know what I'm
see,
doing
like
today.
here's the thing about the towels is people are like, oh, it's gonna get mildewy. The air is so dry here. I think it depends on where you live. If you live in a humid place, I get it. You probably need to wash more. But my towels, they dry out, so they're not going to get mildew. And for example, just 2 nights ago, Carmi started pouring water outside the bath, and I had to soak it all out. Like I stopped paying attention for 1 second, and she's just like, "Hey, look, Daddy!" I'm like, "No. Take a towel, like a washcloth, soaking wet, hang it up. That morning, shit is bone dry. There's not bacteria living in that thing. Not a single bit.
It's just living on the loofah, baby.
This living on my loofah. Somebody's like, what about dead skin? It's my own skin. Oh, no, the skin's going to get back on my body, which it came from. Like, I don't care. Anyway. Oh, God. I've been holding on to that one for a while, guys.
Yeah, seriously, you couldn't
I'm
do
so
that on
glad you got that off your
clickbait.
chest.
Come on, I was uploading videos during clickbait. You couldn't bring it up then.
Nope.
Fine.
This was
Fine.
the time.
This is what Kurt want. All right. Talk about a couple things. We talked about Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers going to be going to the Jets. I think he's going to crush it there. Your thoughts?
I'm so excited. Like, just like being on the inside, I'm so excited to watch him get like a change of scenery and see what that does for him. Like, not just as a person, a player, but like the whole like change is good for in most senses, right? And I think like 18 years is a really long time. And the way that it kind of ended and the way the last like 4 years have been for him, like he said in his podcast, like they were ready to get rid of him a couple of years ago, but they couldn't because he won MVP back to back.
Sure.
So it's like,
oh, shucks.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Sweet plan, guys. Like that's.
Oh, you're
what I mean?
too
Like, that's
good, Aaron.
Yeah. Like we'll keep holding on to you as long as you're the MVP. And so I am so excited for him to go somewhere that it feels like they're going to like go all in on. Like this is like it seems like they're going all in to
It's
try
Super
to
Bowl or
make a run.
bust.
Yeah, and like for him to get the treatment that Matt Stafford got in LA on the going all in, like pretty damn excited about that. I'm also excited for him to play in the AFC against like a new slate of teams with like a new like style. Everybody plays different, and like
Josh Allen twice a year, like
dude, Josh
Dude.
Allen twice a year. They have what?
He's playing Mahomes, like because he's playing the
Mahomes.
Chiefs this year.
Like, dude, how cool is that shit? And
That's
yeah,
rad.
it's I think it's gonna be really cool. And it's not like he's not used to playing in the cold. He's played in the coldest stadium all the time. So like, I think he's gonna shake up the AFC. I'm excited to see what pieces they bring around him, and I don't know. I think they'll get a lot of like the guys that he wanted to bring from the Packers. It looks like, anyways. But like, I'm like, damn, could they get Odell? That'd be pretty sweet. If they're able to land Odell, yeah, I think that could be something crazy.
I'm most
Their
excited.
defense too. Their defense is so good.
Defense is disgustingly good.
Their defense is insane. But I'm really excited for him to resurrect Nathaniel Hackett and everything that went wrong with Denver. Like it's like an unfortunate situation where Hackett is a guy I really liked. I liked his personality. Nothing went right. And he got, him and Russ got all the blame, but once they moved on from Hackett, he just it was all Nathaniel Hackett. So knowing Rodgers wants to work with him again, I am just hoping for a resurrection of Nate Dogg Hackett's career in New York.
I think that is like, that stint with Denver is going to be such a like blip in the radar for him. Like he's going to be one day. And I think like this year, same thing for the Broncos, is going to say everything that people need to know about Denver and like that situation. Just like Tom was saying about like, okay, like we're going to see what everyone's made of. Like they're really going to see what everyone's made of in Denver and who was like, what was the deal? It'll come to light. And I think like how exciting for, hopefully it goes through in New York and the Packers let Aaron free. But yeah, I think just a really cool storybook type deal that I think could end in them hoisting a Lombardi trophy and Hackett having a fat ring on his finger.
Could be.
There you go, Nate Dogg Hackett.
Clip it, save it for February of next year.
Because he also like Aaron pushed back against McAfee on that point, right? Because it was like kind of joked about that the Jets just hired Hackett to kind of lure Rodgers there. And he's like, no. Yeah. He's like, that's a disservice to the organization. That's a disservice to Hackett. He's like, Hackett's a great coach. Like he has a close relationship with Hackett. Dude, but you were also like singing Hackett's praises too.
Yeah. We talked about it last year on your show. Like Hackett's a damn good coach. And it was an unfortunate situation. And Russell will probably have an okay year next year, in my opinion. Like, but it just wasn't a good mix. Like that happens. Like,
yeah. And like what Hackett did was what you don't see a lot of coaches do, and it didn't work. But like the offense he wanted to run with Russell Wilson wasn't working. So they switched it up to Clint Kubiak calling plays. And then they went to Outen. And then it was like this thing where they just kept trying and none of it was working. And by that point, it became so diluted. Like, I don't think anything was going to fix it because they had tried to change it. And I think like that turned into something by the end of the season that it was like a knock. But like, you don't see coaches that willing to be like, fine, this is not working. Let's try it a different way. And I think ultimately that could be something that benefits him in a different situation if he does get another chance
1,000%.
as a head coach.
1,000%. And that's like, Hackett is so selfless and like he doesn't need the lights on him. Like he doesn't have to be the one doing all the things. Like he just wants to win football games. Like that's his motive. Like, and same thing when we were prepping for games when I was with the Packers, like he didn't give a shit who had the most yards, who had the most this, that. Like everyone just wanted to win and everyone just wanted to buy in. Like people didn't need their touches and like he didn't need to put up 50 points to show that like he was killing it on offense. You know what I mean? Like that's not what it was about. He just wanted to put people in the best position to win games, and that's all that matters, and moved on from that. And I think the biggest thing that I saw last year from watching, I actually went back and watched some of the Broncos games to see like what was the play and how I know how it's being coached. So like, is the timing right or the feet right? Like what's going on there? And I just saw a lot of like what I know doesn't vibe with Hackett going on. And so I could imagine like it was an uncomfortable situation all year long where like Hackett believes in his specific way to coach the game and play the game. And then there's another party that played their way, you know, like that's kind of what I saw from watching film, which again, like it works for some people. And sometimes for the most of certain people's careers, it works, but sometimes it's just a bad fit.
Yeah.
Not every coach is perfect and not every coach is always right, but they have a process that they feel like gives you the best chance 90% of the time to work and do well and produce. So that's what they hang their hat on.
You're right. When you're talking about we're going to find out in Denver, like Sean Payton hasn't run an offense that is a fit with Russell Wilson. Like his offense is quick passes. It was get the ball out. Drew Brees was great. They had the marriage there. But Sean Payton has the credibility as a head coach where if it doesn't work with Russ by the end of this season, it's not going to be Sean Payton's fault.
Exactly. That's exactly it. We all see it.
Russ has a ton of pressure on him this year, but the one thing they're doing is they're trying to build the offensive line, and they're going to be committed to the run by the looks of it, and that can help Russell Wilson. We'll figure out how anything else goes, but anyway,
You're not wrong. Yeah, I'm excited because, like, first of all, the 3 QB thing, like, you're the first person I think about. I was like, because that is such a game-changing, life-changing thing, and I think because you advocated for it well before the NFC Championship game and was like, this should be a thing. And then the national audience saw it because, like, that NFC Championship game sucked. And it was like, you don't have a quarterback. The guy literally can't throw the ball.
Nobody wants that to happen.
Yeah, like, it's not good for the product. It's not good for the game. It's a disappointing end to a great season. And listen, injuries are going to happen. There's no way that you can prevent them completely. But you could do things that make it a little less likely that an entire game's going to get ruined.
In my opinion, it's the same thing with kickers. Like, I know they're not talking about it yet, but how many times have you seen a kicker get hurt after the cutoff for the roster announcement for the game, and they have no kicker for the game? It's like, it's the NFL. Why is that even a thing? Like,
right.
Like, literally, you can't attempt a field goal because one player got hurt, where that changes the whole course of people's careers and lives. People don't realize how, like, one game can change the course of everything, and like one specific player, like you can look at turning points in the season when, like, momentum is a real thing, and if you lose momentum because you didn't have an active kicker available or you didn't have a quarterback available, like, those things are real, and the NFL makes a lot of money to not have those things. Like, they shouldn't come up. Like, they just shouldn't.
Yeah. There's a lot of things the NFL could just throw money at and fix a lot of things, Fields. But yeah, 100%, which all the way, I think it's so funny that you had an entire season really of everybody complaining about the field quality. And because that's the thing too, it's not just turf. Turf's not great, but it's not like, oh, well, everyone just gets grass. There needs to be standardized. You saw in the Super Bowl what happened, like, when a field is not taken care of. And like, I was telling this to Perna the day after the Super Bowl. This should not be a thing we're talking about with $1 billion company.
Ever.
It's like, hey guys, the field wasn't so great for their biggest game ever.
Yeah, like soccer teams don't do this. They don't talk, like, it's not a thing.
Yeah,
and you look at how pristine those are and how pristine, like, most baseball fields are. Like, I don't know. That one's like a dead horse, but hopefully they get it right. And it takes, again, like, things blowing up in their face for it to be changed, which.
They're reactive. They're not proactive. But that's the NFL. But that's everything. Like, I mean, I've watched the NFL now quite some time. Like, they are a reactive league. They're always going to be a reactive league. And they don't, like, get ahead of things to be like, this could be a really big problem. It's going to take, like you said, something blowing up and going, we should fix this because money's involved.
Whatever field makes the Chiefs worse is the one I support as the standard. Whatever field can slow down Pat Mahomes, give me that one. Give me that one.
Come on, Brandon.
He doesn't slow down with a busted ankle.
I know.
He knows.
Oh, trust me.
That's it.
I hate how good he is. I hate it.
We do need to talk about free agents. Good.
I was gonna say, you almost need, like, a little bit of a. Have you ever thought of, like, a Pat Mahomes, like, voodoo doll?
Ooh. A Pat Mahomes voodoo ketchup bottle is what I need. That's what I'll get.
Oh my God.
I've been sent some voodoo dolls in the mail. And then just a random Cowboys one.
Oh my God. I love it.
Of course. Kurt, we appreciate you coming on. Brandon and I are going to talk about free agents for like 5 minutes. Because people to check. Are they talking about it yet? But where can people find you? The new office coming on Monday, so we're going to be getting back to that content.
Yes, you can at Kurt Benkert for everything. Again, thank you guys for all the support. new office space on Monday. Going to be setting up, back to streaming, probably doing some Madden playthroughs and try not to let the game ruin me as a human, but that's where I'll be. And until then, you'll probably see me tweeting.
Hell
Beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, Kurt. Hope you have a great day. We'll be
Awesome.
talking to you soon.
See you, Kurt.
Thanks, guys. See you. Have a good one.
Later, buddy. That is Kurt Benkert, legend. And now it's just Brandon Perna and I sitting here alone, crying. Yeah, there's people in the chat going, they talk about free agents yet?
No, we never got to it. We could, or we could just change the title of the episode. What's the plan here?
Oh, Isaiah McKenzie just got released by the Bills.
Dang, the human joystick. My old friend Isaiah.
There you go.
That sucks. I was enjoying watching him have some success in Buffalo after he was cut a little too early from Denver.
He fumbled. That was the problem. That was an issue.
He
A
had
little
some.
bit of the fumbles. You want to talk about free agents real quick?
Yeah.
All right, you pull that up. I'm going to. Can we stay for like another 10 minutes? You got 10 minutes? So cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I have to pee so badly.
So do I. You go.
All right. I'll go and then I'll talk and then you go. All right. Pee.
Boom. Here we go.
Pee boys.
Look. The PP boys are back, and there are some very good free agents still available. All right. Check it. Oh, actually, you know what we can do while Tom is gone?
I think it won't be long.
Is that nothing happened? Whining and dining with the New York Jets to win for both sides.
If the Packers suck, no happiness out there. So what are you going to do if the Packers suck? And I got nothing to lose. So funny, Adam. Everybody suffer. Be happy as a Packers fan. It's just football terrorism. Football terrorism. What the hell was that?
Shout out to Sydney and Johnny Barks for putting together a little trailer about what if the Packers suck.
Wait. What? I heard music while I was peeing.
All right. You can watch it again.
What the hell is this?
I think it won't be long.
Is that nothing happened? Whining and dining with the New York Jets to win for both sides.
Oh my God.
If the Packers suck, no happiness out there. So what are you going to do if the Packers suck? And I got nothing to lose. So funny, Adam. Everybody suffer. Be happy as a Packers fan. It's just football terrorism. Football terrorism. Oh my God. That's amazing. And also 100% true. If the Green Bay Packers are bad, you are going to see a heel turn like no other. Because this has been Tom. This has been Tom when the Packers are good. We're bad. Oh, the whole NFL is going down. It is getting burned to the ground. So it's going to be fun. That's phenomenal, by the way. Oh, I can't share the screen. Because Perna, well, can I share it? Nope, I can't because he controlled it. Well, that's a thing. It's fine. City Johnny Barks, hell yeah. That was awesome. That was freaking awesome. 100%. Anyway, that's Kurt Benkert, and there's Brandon Perna. Woo! So wait, you colluded?
No collusion.
You colluded.
No collusion.
Okay. We're going to get you back.
See all the stuff I haven't aired that Johnny sent me.
Oh, we going to play that game? We going to play that game? All right.
Let's just say we have a live stream of when you're sleeping, and I'm not going to tell you how.
Is that where I woke up without pants? No, I'm pretty sure I fell asleep with my jeans on and I woke up in my pajama pants. It was just very nice. So I was like, oh, I don't know how this happened. Must have blacked out again. All right, let's talk about free agents.
Okay. Back at it. Here we go.
I couldn't share it because you were there. Yep. It's not. No. It's they might.
That's we're gonna call that a prediction of the future, and then it'll become a reality. The dark
or you're gonna
Packers
curse it.
fans are about to experience.
Or you're gonna curse it. You could curse it. You could curse your curse.
Dalton Schultz, Pro Football Focus's #1 available free agent. Honestly, I'm surprised Dallas has not re-signed Schultz because he plays so well with Dak. Like, Schultz's production was like nothing without Dak Prescott, but those two have really good chemistry. I don't know exactly how great of a tight end Schultz is. If he's really good versus him and Dak just play well together, but I don't know. He's an interesting tight end.
Yeah, I mean, so they franchise tagged him last year. Because he basically was like doing nothing, and then they put him in. I don't know if it's because someone got hurt. Like, I don't remember what it was, but they put him out and they were like, hey, let's actually throw balls to him. And he had like a really nice season. And then he like replicated that again. And he is a good tight end. I mean, you just saw Mike Gesicki this morning. He's going to the Patriots.
Yeah.
And with Gesicki, like, he's a good receiving tight end, but he does not block. Schultz can block. And depending on which kind of team you are, like, that's something, because I know the Packers need a tight end. Like, I don't think we're going after Schultz just because Matt LaFleur likes blockers. And if we're losing Mercedes Lewis, who's a blocking tight end primarily, and Alan Lazard, who, even though he was our #1 wide receiver last year, also known for his blocking, they're going to want guys that can put people in the dirt.
Boom.
He was complaining on Twitter yesterday. Chauncey Gardner Johnson. Yeah, he was just like, what the F? Like, the Eagles are re-signing all these guys. And I thought, like, I thought that when he came over from the Saints, he was like a perfect fit with Philadelphia because it was just like, I'm going to trash talk. Like, and he was good. Like, he was good.
He's been linked to the Broncos because he played with Sean Payton, so anybody who was on Sean Payton's team has been linked to the Broncos. But like, Will and I talked about adding him to the secondary because Kareem Jackson probably not coming back. But what we like about him is his attitude and trash talking. It's like you kind of want one of those guys on defense who also backs it up, obviously, but like,
sure,
you need that. And we kind of compared it to like when we had Aqib Talib. It's this little bit of a enforcer, get in your head type guy. And I'm surprised he's still available. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go back to Philly. It seems like they had a lot of guys they're coming back on 1-year deals. So
I think they're just trying to run it back again.
I think, they're still in the window and they know it, and they're going.
This might be their last. I'm not saying this is a reflection on Hurts or anything like that, but while they have Hurts on a cheap contract,
100%.
They need to be like, hey, let's go, because then we're not gonna be able to re-sign these guys. And we talked about this yesterday on Clickbait. They definitely re-signed more folks than I thought they were. Like, Jason Kelce coming back is like big, and they're keeping Slay. But I think losing Hargrave is going to hurt. And
that's a big loss to the defensive front. Hurt. But like, what if
draft
Jalen Carter's sitting there for them at 10?
He's going to visit. Did you see that clip yesterday of him running the drills?
Yeah,
it was bad, man. Like, he didn't finish his pro day drills because he was out of breath and cramping. Like, he showed up like 9 pounds, and obviously things that are going on outside are obviously having a direct impact on him. But the Bears are calling him in. They're going to have a meeting with him to get to know him better because he might be sitting there at 9.
Yeah.
And that's where the Bears are now.
I don't think he makes it past the Bears. But like, Philly can get better in the draft at that position.
Yeah. By the way, also Cameron Brate, Leonard Fournette also released this morning.
Whoa. Cameron Brate.
He's a good
tight end too.
We knew about that too. Fournette was going to, and again, Fournette, I commented on this. I feel like he's been in the league forever, but he's still like relatively young.
19 years old still.
Exactly. Bobby Wagner. Guy can still play. Definitely.
I think
I don't know how much money
Focus, I think, graded him as top 3 linebacker, maybe number 1 last year.
I don't know what kind of contract he's going to get.
I think that's the issue. I think he wants what he's worth, and NFL teams are like, but your age, you're old, you're old. He's like, well, fuck you. I'm just disappointed out there.
Yeah.
But like the NFL teams, even when a guy plays really well and they're at the top end of the age at that position group, because it's all a little bit different, they are all fearing that the next year is going to be the drop off. And I think that's what Bobby Wagner's dealing with right now.
Well, I know we're going to skip over Isaac for a hot second, but Jadeveon Clowner, what is this, the 5th straight year where he's a free agent?
I think he played 2 in Cleveland, but he has bounced around.
Team, maybe might be the 5th team.
Yeah,
I saw that somewhere. He has played Houston, obviously. Yeah, Seattle, Tennessee, Cleveland. So this will be team number 5.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So he's going to be going to team number 5 after. And again, he's going to turn 30 this year, I think.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's not the guy that you thought he was coming out of the draft. Like, he was always like a solid player, but he wasn't that impactful, like gonna go out there and like live up to where he was chosen.
Yeah, he's never had 10 sacks in a season. And I think last year he wasn't healthy. He didn't play as much. He only had 2 sacks.
2021 he had that nice season with Cleveland because he had 9 sacks.
Yeah. Like, Clowney can do a lot of things well, but it's not like he does any one thing at the elite level that he was supposed to where he was drafted.
Correct.
But I think like he can come in and be a nice contributor on a lot of rosters, especially that are maybe a little thin at edge.
Sure, he's like, put him in as a rotational guy, right? Like, he comes in like on like 3rd downs or something, like where they're going to throw the ball and like maybe he can get after him. That's probably like if you're going to get him.
If Denver signed him, I would be happy with it because like I'm really concerned about edge depth, knowing like Randy Gregory can't stay healthy. We've got Baron Browning, who is great, but needs to take another step. So like he'll find a place. And then you've got OBJ, who Kurt just kind of hyped up a little bit.
Well, he's getting a lot of attention now because he had the workouts. So, and I think it was yesterday he was talking about, he's like, I still have, 5 months to get ready and I'm already able to like do this. And he was a guy that was brought up on like the wish list for Aaron Rodgers, but Rodgers also called him out too. And was like, hey, like, yeah, who wouldn't want OBJ on their team? So you've almost had it a few times. And I know it was between the Rams and Green Bay, in the Rams Super Bowl run, but I would not be surprised if the Jets swing for him.
Yeah, it depends on the money, right? But
that's going to be the big thing.
The thing OBJ has going for him is he'll be 1.5 years removed from the injury. So like some people thought he could come back at the end of this last season, like playoffs, right?
Talking to the Cowboys. Yeah.
That was a stretch. So he gets 6 extra months to rehab and work on the knee. So I think he will be ready to go. His body will be as recovered as it can be, more so because he got a little extra time.
Sure.
But even with that, like a year off, another knee injury at 8. Is he 32?
The thing with OBJ is the problem. It's a double-edged sword, right? He doesn't need to go ring chasing because he's got one. Yeah. So I think if you have a team that goes, you know what? I know it's a little bit more risky, but we're going to give you a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract over the 1-year prove it deal, even though he could go win another ring. I mean, how many more contracts is he going to get, right? Because you are getting up there in terms of a wide receiver's age. So let's just say he goes to the Jets on a 1-year prove it deal. They win a Super Bowl and he balls out. Is another team going to be like, well, now you're 33? I'm still not going to give you like a lengthy contract or a big contract because those days are probably numbered.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a team that's going to give him that much money. I know the Cowboys are looking into it and they might get a deal done. And that would actually be a good fit for him because like when he went to the Rams, he needs to go somewhere where he can be the number 2 guy.
Number 2, sit behind CeeDee Lamb. Yep.
You've got that on the other, and him and CD have like, I think a different skill set too at this point. So, Scooter should be excited if he does sign there, but like at age 30 with 2 ACL injuries, like, I just don't know what kind. I would be very surprised if he looks dominant again at that position.
Sure.
And it's nothing to do with him. It's just the body.
I mean, you look at what Stephon Gilmore did, right? Stephon Gilmore was like injured, dealing with a ton of injuries. Then he heals up and he goes to Indianapolis and he plays pretty damn well. Yeah. So now he's going to the Cowboys.
We didn't mention this, but like Jonah Williams now on the trade block too. After the Bengals signed
Cincinnati. Yeah.
So there's a good left tackle available for trade,
which you don't see very often. No, like that doesn't come around a lot. So, and he's solid. He's good. Like, it's not like dominant, amazing, but yeah. Because you look at this list, Thielen again, because he's working out the Panthers today, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Adam Thielen is?
I'm pretty sure he's working out with the Panthers.
Yeah. So look at all these edge players. You got Clowney, you got Yannick Ngakoue,
But they have no market right now, and
Leonard Floyd, it's weird. Melvin Ingram, Justin Houston, Kyle Van Noy, like Frank Clark. I wouldn't get excited about.
Adrian Amos is still a free agent. How come he's not back in Green Bay? 1, but 2. More importantly, the edge rushers right now that are sitting on besides Frank Clark, who's probably just going to wind up re-signing with the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these guys
in the playoffs.
A lot of these guys are not going to get mega deals because in this draft, edge rushers, like there are some crazy athletes. So teams could be like, let's see if we can land one of them. And if not, then after the draft, we probably sign some of these guys if it doesn't work out or for depth, etc.
100% feels like a bunch of these guys will get signed after the draft when teams don't get like the guy they're targeting. But I mean, I don't think you see that many edge rushers available, and they're all getting, they're all getting a little older, but like, I think the steal there is Kyle Van Noy, who filling in for Melvin Ingram, not Melvin Ingram, but filling in for on the Chargers for Bosa, played really well. So
I'm curious. Yeah. Justin Houston might get a decent amount too. People might take a flyer on him.
He's another guy I feel like is 100 years old.
Yeah.
Justin Houston.
Scroll down for a second, Perna, on that list.
34.
So like that's the thing too. Like Zeke is still there. So like what team? Because he's not going to get the kind of money that he used to. I think a team might just pick him up as a flyer and be like, "Hey, we're going to sign you as like our RB2, and if you work your way up like the depth chart, cool." Like he needs to go to a place where he's going to split carries with somebody.
Yeah, like I think Zeke will be. I think Zeke will be a great pickup for a team on a friendly contract, right? Like the whole issue with Zeke was he was paid so much more than he was producing, and then Dallas became a backfield that was a 2-back system, and they paid Zeke to be the workhorse. he's a good back. He's just not great. So if he's paid proportionally to what he's producing, then that's like a nice signing, I think.
I think so. I completely agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see what, like, you put him on the Bills, for example, right? So you have James Cook there. Is Singletary still going to, is he a safe free agent now? Or no, is he still on the team? Should be, I think. Regardless, you put him back there. I mean, like, again, and you have 3 and you just use him for like goal line situations, but you're going to pay him like that. Like, you're probably going to get $5 million maybe. So
yeah,
it's just interesting. Like, I wonder what. Oh, there's Devin Singletary right there. He is a free agent. Oh God, sometimes Teddy Bridgewater.
He's not.
Oh, look, Dean Lowry. There's Dean Lowry. Packers legend. That was a weird contract extension. That was a weird one.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, the Bears signed Dante Foreman.
Yes, they did. Yep.
That's a great signing.
Well, they don't. Yeah, good.
I'll say, because they lost David Montgomery, and I think
yes,
Foreman really underrated. Like he was very good every time he was the workhorse for the Panthers. So I think that's a really nice signing for the Bears.
Well, I'm curious of what they're going to do because Khalil Herbert was also like running pretty solid last year for the Bears because like Montgomery was dealing with some stuff. So I wonder if they're just going to do that backfield by committee, like have Herbert be the leading guy. And that, but again, there's still Austin Eckler out there. That's the big thing that he gets traded. Somebody's got an RB1 because how old is he now? Like 29?
Yeah. Somebody said the Broncos have like the 3rd best odds to land Eckler.
Like 27. Okay. Yeah. So he's still got time. He's still good.
That's why I said Eckler and the Bills.
He had 18 touchdowns last year.
Yeah. His like rushing stats weren't great last year, but how many receptions did he have? He
had 107 receptions, 722 yards, and 5 tutties.
Yeah. So to me, he makes the most sense in Buffalo. I think we talked about that. Like they don't commit to the run. So just bring in the back that you can just throw to. Like give Josh Allen a legit check down that is explosive. And
but that's why Montgomery makes a lot of sense because like he can catch. It's nothing like Eckler, but it like made sense for the Lions because Jamal Williams wasn't that guy. That was more like Swift in him. So now you have Montgomery and Swift. So I like that duo. But yes, I
said his rushing stats weren't great. He had 13 rushing touchdowns.
You're talking, Eckler. Yeah, I said that. He had 18 touchdowns last year. He had 5.
I didn't realize. I thought like 13 of them would have been receiving and 5 were rushing. The Chargers just were better overall.
But they like barely. There was games where they barely utilized him. And I know like there's injury things, but I will never understand how the Chargers ran their offense last year. I watched enough Chargers games where I'm like, how are you turning Justin Herbert into a check down QB? Like legitimately, how are we doing that? Because when you let him sling it a good amount of times, it's good. And like you have so many weapons there. It's just dumb. It's just they're just not living up to their potential. It's so frustrating seeing because I think Herbert is a very good quarterback. They have the receivers. They have so many threats. It's like, dude, just come on. It's honestly disappointing because I feel like, and I know you're not going to like this, but it doesn't matter. If Sean Payton went to the Chargers, I'm saying it doesn't matter because it's not going to happen. If Sean Payton went to the Chargers and the Broncos, I would be so excited to see what kind of offense he would run because I think like him and Herbert would do really, really well.
Just wait till we get Caleb Williams, and then you'll be excited.
So we're off the Russ trade already.
That's my backup plan. It's just
it's like plan A
in a generation, possibly.
Russell Wilson, decent. Plan B, tank hard. Well, wait a minute. When's Caleb Williams coming out?
2024.
Don't you not have a first-round pick?
No, we do. We got one next year.
Didn't you give it up for Russ, or you just gave up 2022 and 2023? Oh.
We back in business next offseason, baby, with drafts.
But so are the Rams. They finally have a first-round pick next year. Finally.
Yeah.
It's been a century.
The Broncos won't be last. But
Who's going to go for Caleb Williams? It's going to be the race to the bottom.
yeah. Sean Payton said Caleb Williams is the kind of quarterback you might see teams intentionally be tanking for.
Damn. Damn. He says that what's going to happen? Wilson's going to throw like one pick week 1. He's like, pull him. We're taking the rest of the year. Like, it was just one interception. Nope. Gone. Yeah. They're going to start calling you in there to play and just be like, yep, put him in. It's fine. All right. Well, we did talk about free agents.
We did get there.
We did it. We did our job.
Happy belated getting to free agency.
Exactly. But we appreciate you folks. It was always good talking to Benkert. So,
oh yeah, it's awesome.
Brandon Perna, what do you got coming out?
Working on a Jalen Carter episode. I think it should be out today, but
it shouldn't or should?
No, it should.
Okay.
But you never know.
Got it. I got Q&A tonight, and I'm putting out either 1 or 2 videos today because I really want to talk, because this is all anybody's talking about on Packers Twitter, and I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but I wanted to do the Jets fan reaction. The compensation for Aaron Rodgers and talking about who has leverage, because I think depending on who you listen to, you're hearing very different things, and I just want to lay it out very objectively how it could benefit either team, because there's one program in particular that is like Packers have no leverage whatsoever, which is being done intentionally, but all good. It's fine.
Tight.
And then I want to do a skit too. I don't know if that's gonna come out today, but yeah.
Skid it up, boy.
That's it, baby.
Skid it up.
Folks, we appreciate you tuning in to a Friday edition of the Grossi Perna Show. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
You've reached your wee little bit of an old destination.